This is a demo of the On-Demand add-on for Employee Scheduler. On-Demand lets your website visitors request your employees' services anytime, anywhere, just like Uber does. So customers can come to your website and request that your employees come to their location to do work for them, or the work could also be done remotely depending on what kind of work it is. So this could work for services like massage, home health care, house cleaning, furniture moving, tutoring. The possibilities are endless. First, I'm going to show you what it's like for your customers to use On-Demand, and then I'll walk you through how to set it up and how to use it as an administrator or an employee. I've set up an example website for a tutoring company. So if I'm a visitor to this site who needs a tutor, I can come request a tutor who will then meet me in a location of my choosing and teach me what I need to learn. So I can click on Request a Tutor. And first it's going to ask me to create an account so that I can log in and request a tutor. So once I fill in this form, I can click Register, and then an email will be sent to me with my login information, and I can come back to this page and log in. Once I've set up my password and logged in, the Request a Tutor page shows me this form. First I get to fill in the qualifications that I need my tutor to have. So in this case, I need someone who can teach science, and I'm in the 10th grade. And now I get to pick the date and time that this will happen. So and if I want, I can request multiple shifts at once. So let me fill in another one here. And because I'm requesting multiple shifts, it's asking me if I want the same employee for all of these shifts or if it's okay to have different employees. And in this case, I want the same employee. Then I need to enter in the location where this is going to happen. And if I want, I can leave a further description of what I need or comments about what I need done. Then I have to agree to the terms and conditions. And when I click Submit, the plugin goes and it finds all of the employees in the system who are qualified, in this case can teach 10th grade science, and are available at the time that I requested. And in this case, there was one employee available for each shift, so if it didn't find an employee, it will give me a message saying there are employees who meet these qualifications, but none of them are available at this time, so go back and pick a different time. Or it'll tell me nobody meets these qualifications, so you need to change your criteria. But in this case, there is an employee who's available for each one of these shifts, so I can click Confirm Shift Request. And now it has created 2 shifts in the system. And the employee who is qualified to do this work has been sent an email saying, hey, there's work available for you. And as soon as an employee accepts my shift, as soon as an employee says they're going to do the work, I will receive an email confirmation about that. On this particular site, I have WooCommerce installed, and I have it set up to send an invoice to the customer as soon as this shift request form is filled out. So now as a customer, if I go to your account page, here I can see these are the dates and times of the 2 shifts I just requested. No one has claimed this shift yet, so there's no employee listed here, but as soon as an employee takes the shift, their name will be listed here. And then here's an invoice. This invoice is created in WooCommerce, and I've received an email about it, but I can also find the invoice here and pay for it right here. I can also view shift details. Here's where I can see when I requested it, where it's going to happen, what information or what qualifications I requested. And in any other information I've entered in there. I also have the option at this point to cancel the shift. So if I decide, oops, I didn't want to do that, I can click cancel and the shift will be canceled and the employee If an employee had signed up for it, the employee would receive the notification. So that's what it's like to use Employee Scheduler on Demand as a customer. So now that you've seen what it's like to use On Demand as a customer, let me show you what it's like to use it as an admin and the things you need to do to get it working. First of all, if you go to the Employee Scheduler page in your dashboard, you'll see some on-demand settings. Some of these settings relate to the invoices that get sent out. So the first question is, when do you want the invoice to be created? Do you want it as soon as a customer requests a shift, which is what happened in the demo I just gave you? Or you can wait until an employee has accepted the shift so you know that the work is actually going to happen. Or you can wait until after the shift has been worked. And if you want the invoice to be created before the shift has been worked, so these first two options, the invoice will reflect the amount of time the customer has requested that the shift will take. But if you create it after the shift has been worked, you have the option to bill for the actual time worked instead of the time that the customer requested. You also have an option for whether or not you want to send the invoices automatically or if you want to send them yourself. You can choose how you want the rate to be calculated. So you can choose to have the same hourly rate for all of your shifts, or you can mark up your employee's pay rate. So you can either say charge $20 an hour for all of your shifts, or if your employee is getting paid $20 an hour, you can charge your customers 20% more than that, or 50% more than that, or whatever. So here are the settings for the flat hourly rate or the markup percentage. Here's the setting for whether you want the invoice to reflect the time that the customer requested or the time that was actually worked. And there are also some settings related to notifications. You can choose whether you want customers to be allowed to cancel a shift or not, and if your customers can cancel shifts, how far in advance do they have to do it? So in this case, they have to give 48 hours notice to cancel a shift. And finally, if you have a terms and conditions page, you can select which page that is here. The next thing you need to do as an admin is set up the work qualification form. So you saw how the customer was able to choose that they wanted an employee who could teach 10th grade science. Here's how we set that up. Under Users, there you can go to All Work Qualification Forms. And here's that tutoring qualification form. So you can create fields for this form, and each field is going to have a name, so such as subject. And then the description for the field, these descriptions are optional, and you can also create different descriptions for customers and for employees. So for the employee, the question is, what subject can you teach? And for the customer, the question is, what subject do you need help with? And then you can choose whether you want it to be a drop-down or checkboxes or radio buttons, and you can enter in as many options as you need here. You can also choose whether the question is required and what order the question will go in. So if you have 10 questions on your form, you might want to determine what order those questions go in. So once you've created some fields on this form, you need to set up pages to display these questions. You need a page for employees where employees can go answer the questions and fill in their qualifications, and then you need the form that your customer fills in to request employee services. So first of all, let me show you the employee page. So just using the short code employee work qualification form, and then I put in the slug of the form to tell it which form to use. So now we can go view this page, and this is the form that employees fill in to enter in what information or what qualifications they have. And then there's another page, the request a tutor page, and this has the short code customer shift request form, and again the slug of the form here shows which form we're using. Now, maybe you don't need qualification questions. Maybe all of your employees have the same qualifications, or it doesn't really matter to your customers whether your employees have certain qualifications or not. You don't have to use these forms, and if you just put in the short code without that form, then the customer request page will just show you the fields for the date and location. Let me also show you what it looks like to see a shift in the dashboard. So when a shift has been requested by an employee, you'll see it in your dashboard along with all of your other shifts. And the dashboard view here will show you the same information that customers and employees see when they view the shift on the site. And there's also a field here for invoice. If you're using WooCommerce, this will automatically have the ID of the WooCommerce order. But if you aren't using WooCommerce and maybe you're making your own invoices, you have PDF invoices, or maybe you're using separate invoicing software, you can put a link to that invoice here, whether it's a PDF file that's on your website or a link to, a FreshBooks invoice or something else. If you put a link here, this link will show up on the customer account page. So if you want an alternative to WooCommerce, you can use an alternative. So that's what you need to know to use On-Demand as an admin. Now let me show you what it's like as an employee. So as an employee, it's important to go fill in the qualification form. And this employee is qualified to do everything. Once you fill in the form, your data will be saved here, and you can come back anytime and make some changes to your qualifications. So employees always have the ability to update their qualifications to make sure they're accurate. Employees also can go to the employee profile page, and the most important section of this for On-Demand is this availability. So I've entered in that this employee is available from 10 to 5 every weekday. So when a customer requests a shift, this is how the plugin knows what employees are available to do the work. So this availability is very important, but again, it's right here on the employee profile page, so employees can come in and edit it anytime they need. Finally, when an employee views the schedule, they will see unassigned shifts. So these are the shifts that have been requested by On-Demand customers. You can view the shift details to see, here the customer requested these things, and if the employee decides they want to take the shift, they can just click this Take Shift button, and now that's assigned to that employee. When a shift is created and an employer, or when an employee is qualified for a shift, they will receive an email saying, hey, there's this shift and you're qualified and you're available, so if you want it, here it is. And that email will give them a link to this page, so the employee can easily come and select whether they want to take that shift or not. So that's all there is to it for employees, and I hope this has given you a good overview of what On-Demand can do and how it works.